The Lord said to Moses and Aaron,
When anyone has a swelling or a rash or a shiny spot on their skin that may be a defiling skin disease, they must be brought to Aaron the priest or to one of his sons who is a priest. The priest is to examine the sore on the skin, and if the hair in the sore has turned white and the sore appears to be more than skin deep, it is a defiling skin disease. When the priest examines them, he shall pronounce them ceremonially unclean. If the shiny spot on the skin is white but does not appear to be more than skin deep, and the hair in it has not turned white, the priest is to isolate the affected person for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine them, and if he sees that the sore is unchanged and has not spread in the skin, he is to isolate them for another 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine them again, and if the sore has faded and has not spread in the skin, the priest shall pronounce them clean. It is only a rash. They must wash their clothes, and they will be clean. But if the rash does spread in their skin after they have shown themselves to the priest to be pronounced clean, they must appear before the priest again. The priest is to examine them, and if the rash has spread in the skin, he shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling skin disease. When anyone has a defiling skin disease, they must be brought to the priest. The priest is to examine them, and if there is a white swelling in the skin that has turned the hair white, and if there is raw flesh in the swelling, it is a chronic skin disease, and the priest shall pronounce them unclean. He is not to isolate them, because they are already unclean. If the disease breaks out all over their skin, and so far as the priest can see, it covers all the skin of the affected person from head to foot, the priest is to examine them, and if the disease has covered their whole body, he shall pronounce them clean. Since it has all turned white, they are clean. But whenever raw flesh appears on them, they will be unclean. When the priest sees the raw flesh, he shall pronounce them unclean. The raw flesh is unclean. They have a defiling disease. If the raw flesh changes and turns white, they must go to the priest. The priest is to examine them, and if the sores have turned white, the priest shall pronounce the affected person clean. Then they will be clean. When someone has a boil on their skin and it heals, and in the place where the boil was, a white swelling or reddish white spot appears, they must present themselves to the priest. The priest is to examine it, and if it appears to be more than skin deep, and the hair in it has turned white, the priest shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling skin disease that has broken out where the boil was. But if when the priest examines it, there is no white hair in it, and it is not more than skin deep and has faded, then the priest is to isolate them for 7 days. If it is spreading in the skin, the priest shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling disease. But if the spot is unchanged and has not spread, it is only a scar from the boil, and the priest shall pronounce them clean. When someone has a burn on their skin and a reddish white or white spot appears in the raw flesh of the burn, the priest is to examine the spot, and if the hair in it has turned white and it appears to be more than skin deep, it is a defiling disease that has broken out in the burn. The priest shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling skin disease. But if the priest examines it, and there is no white hair in the spot, and if it is not more than skin deep and has faded, then the priest is to isolate them for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine them, and if it is spreading in the skin, the priest shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling skin disease. If, however, the spot is unchanged and has not spread in the skin, but has faded, it is a swelling from the burn, and the priest shall pronounce them clean. It is only a scar from the burn. If a man or woman has a sore on their head or chin, the priest is to examine the sore, and if it appears to be more than skin deep, and the hair in it is yellow and thin, the priest shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling skin disease on the head or chin. But if when the priest examines the sore, it does not seem to be more than skin deep, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest is to isolate the affected person for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine the sore, and if it has not spread, and there is no yellow hair in it, and it does not appear to be more than skin deep, then the man or woman must shave themselves, except for the affected area, and the priest is to keep them isolated another 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine the sore, and if it has not spread in the skin, and appears to be no more than skin deep, the priest shall pronounce the man or woman clean. They must wash their clothes, and they will be clean. But if the sore does spread in the skin after they are pronounced clean, the priest is to examine them, and if he finds that the sore has spread in the skin, he does not need to look for yellow hair. They are unclean. If, however, the sore is unchanged so far as the priest can see, and if black hair has grown in it, the affected person is healed. They are clean, and the priest shall pronounce them clean. When a man or woman has white spots on the skin, the priest is to examine them, and if the spots are dull white, it is a harmless rash that has broken out on the skin. They are clean. A man who has lost his hair and is bald is clean. If he has lost his hair from the front of his scalp and has a bald forehead, he is clean. But if he has a reddish white sore on his bald head or forehead, it is a defiling disease breaking out on his head or forehead. The priest is to examine him, and if the swollen sore on his head or forehead is reddish white like a defiling skin disease, the man is diseased and is unclean. The priest shall pronounce him unclean because of the sore on his head. Anyone with such a defiling disease must wear torn clothes. Let their hair be unkempt, cover the lower part of their face, and cry out, "Unclean, unclean." As long as they have the disease, they remain unclean. They must live alone. They must live outside the camp. As for any fabric that is spoiled with a defiling mold, any woolen or linen clothing, any woven or knitted material of linen or wool, any leather or anything made of leather, if the affected area in the fabric, the leather, the woven or knitted material, or any leather article is greenish or reddish, it is a defiling mold and must be shown to the priest. The priest is to examine the affected area and isolate the article for 7 days. On the 7th day, he is to examine it, and if the mold has spread in the fabric, the woven or knitted material, or the leather, whatever its use, it is a persistent defiling mold. The article is unclean. He must burn the fabric, the woven or knitted material of wool or linen, or any leather article that has been spoiled, because the defiling mold is persistent. The article must be burned. But if when the priest examines it, the mold has not spread in the fabric, the woven or knitted material, or the leather article, he shall order that the spoiled article be washed. Then he is to isolate it for another 7 days. After the article has been washed, the priest is to examine it again, and if the mold has not changed its appearance, even though it has not spread, it is unclean. Burn it, no matter which side of the fabric has been spoiled. If when the priest examines it, the mold has faded after the article has been washed, he is to tear the spoiled part out of the fabric, the leather, or the woven or knitted material. But if it reappears in the fabric, in the woven or knitted material, or in the leather article, it is a spreading mold. Whatever has the mold must be burned. Any fabric, woven or knitted material, or any leather article that has been washed and is rid of the mold must be washed again. Then it will be clean. These are the regulations concerning defiling molds in woolen or linen clothing, woven or knitted material, or any leather article, for pronouncing them clean or unclean.
The Lord said to Moses,
These are the regulations for any diseased person at the time of their ceremonial cleansing when they are brought to the priest. The priest is to go outside the camp and examine them. If they have been healed of their defiling skin disease, the priest shall order that 2 live, clean birds and some cedar wood, scarlet yarn, and hyssop be brought for the person to be cleansed. Then the priest shall order that one of the birds be killed over fresh water in a clay pot. He is then to take the live bird and dip it, together with the cedar wood, the scarlet yarn, and the hyssop, into the blood of the bird that was killed over the fresh water. 7 times he shall sprinkle the one to be cleansed of the defiling disease, and then pronounce them clean. After that, he is to release the live bird in the open fields. The person to be cleansed must wash their clothes, shave off all their hair, and bathe with water. Then they will be ceremonially clean. After this, they may come into the camp, but they must stay outside their tent for 7 days. On the 7th day, they must shave off all their hair. They must shave their head, their beard, their eyebrows, and the rest of their hair.
The Lord said to Moses,
They must
and
wash
Aaron,
their clothes and
Speak
bathe
to the
Israelites
Israelites
with water,
and say to them,
and they will be
when
clean.
any
man has an unusual bodily
they
discharge,
must bring 2 male
such a
lambs
discharge
and 1
is
ewe
unclean,
lamb a year
whether
old,
it continues
each
flowing
without
from his
defect,
body
along
or
with
is
3/10
it
of
will
an
make
ephah
him
of
of the
clean.
finest flour.
This is
mixed
how
with
his
olive
discharge
oil
will
for
bring
a grain
about
offering,
uncleanness.
and 1 log
Any
of
bed
oil.
the
man with a discharge
the priest who pronounces
will be
them
unclean. Shall
and
present
anything he
both
sits
the
on
one to be
will be
cleansed,
unclean.
and their offerings
Anyone who
before
touches
the
his
Lord
bed
at the
must
entrance
wash their
to the
clothes
tent
and
and bathe with water.
Then the priest
they
is
will
to take
take
one
one of the male
till
lambs
evening.
and offer it
Whoever
as
sits
a
on
guilt
anything
offering
that
the
the
man
man
with
with
a
a log of
discharge
oil
sat on. He shall
must
wave
wash their
them before
clothes
the
and
Lord
bathe
as
with
a
water,
wave offering, and they will be unclean. He is to
eat.
slaughter the lamb in the sanctuary.
Whoever touches
area
the man
where
who
the
has a
sin
discharge
offering
must
and the
wash
burnt
their
offering
clothes
and
are
bathe
slaughtered.
with water. And they
Like
will be
the sin
unclean
offering till
The
evening.
guilt offering belongs
If the
to
man
the
with the
priest.
discharge
It
spits
is
on
most
anyone who is
holy.
clean,
They must
the
wash
priest
their
is to
clothes
take some of
and
the
bathe
blood of
with
the
the guilt
water,
offering,
and they will
and
be
put it on
unclean
the lobe
till
of the
evening.
right ear of the
Everything
one to
the
be
man
cleansed,
sits on
when
when
riding
riding
of their
will
right
be
hand,
unclean.
and on the big
And
toe
whoever
of their
touches
right
any
foot.
of the things that
The
were
priest
under
shall
him
then
will
take
be
some of the
unclean
log
till
of
evening.
oil, pour it
Whoever
in the
picks
palm
up those
of
things
his own
must
left
wash
hand,
their clothes
and
dip
bathe
his
with
right
water,
forefinger
and they will
into
be
the
unclean
oil
till his
evening.
palm.
And
anyone
with
the
his
man with
finger
a discharge
sprinkles
touches
some of
without
it
rinsing
before
his
the
hands
Lord
with water
7
must
times.
wash their clothes and
The
bathe
priest
with
is
water,
to put some
and
of
they
the
will
oil
be
remaining
unclean
in his palm
on the
a clay
lobe
pot
of the right
that the man
ear
touches
of the one
must
to
be
be
broken,
cleansed, and
on
any
the thumb
wooden
of their
article
right
is
hand
to be rinsed
and
with
on the
water.
big toe
When a
of
man
their
is
right
cleansed
foot
from his
on
discharge,
top of the
he is
blood
to
of
count
the
off
guilt
7 days for
the
his
rest of the
ceremonial
oil in his
cleansing.
palm.
The
He
priest
must
shall
wash his
put on the
clothes
head and
of the
bathe
one to be
himself with
cleansed,
fresh
and
water,
make atonement
and he will
for
be
them
clean
before the Lord.
On the 8th day,
Then the
he
priest
must
is to
take
sacrifice
2
the
doves or
sin
2
offering
young pigeons
and make
and
atonement
come before the
for the one
Lord
to be
to the
cleansed
entrance
from their
to the tent of
uncleanness.
meeting, and
After
give
that,
them to the priest.
the priest
shall slaughter
the priest
the burnt
is to
offering
sacrifice
and
them,
offer it on
the one
altar
for a sin offering
together with the
and the
grain
other
offering,
for a burnt
and make
offering.
atonement for
In
them.
this way,
and they will
he will
be
make
clean.
atonement before
If,
the Lord,
however,
for
they
the
are
man
poor because
and
he
his
cannot
discharge.
afford these, they must
When a
take
man
one
has an
male
emission
lamb
of
as a
semen,
guilt
he
offering
must
to
bathe
be
his
waved
whole
to
body
make
with water,
atonement,
and
for
he will
them,
be unclean
together with a tenth
till
of an
evening.
ephah of the
Any
finest
clothing
flour
or
mixed
leather
with olive
that has
oil
semen
for
on
a
it
grain
must be
offering,
washed
a
with
log of
water,
oil,
and it will be
two
unclean
doves or
till
2 young
evening.
pigeons, When a man has sexual relations with a woman, and there is an emission of semen, both of them must bathe with water. On the 8th day, they must bring them for their cleansing. When a woman has her regular entrance to the tent, the impurity of her monthly period will last. The priest is to take the lamb, and anyone who touches her will be together with the log of oil and wave them. Anything she lies on as a during her period will be unclean. He shall slaughter the anything she sits guilt off will be unclean. And take some of its blood. Anyone who touches her bed will be on right ear. They must wash their clothes on the thumb of their right hand, and they will be on the big toe of their right foot. Anyone who touches anything, some of the oil will into the palm of his own left hand. They must wash their clothes with his right forefinger, sprinkle some of the oil from his palm. 7 whether it is the bed or anything she was sitting some of the oil anyone in his palm it he is to put on the same places. If a man has sexual relations with her and her monthly on the lobe of the right ear of he will be unclean for 7 days. Thumb of their right hand, any bed he lies on their right will be unclean. The rest when a woman has a discharge of blood, the priest shall days at a time head other than her monthly be cleansed, or has a discharge for them before her period. She then will be unclean as long as she has the discharge, just such in the days of her period. One any bed she lies on, while her discharge as a burnt offering will be together with the grain as her bed during her monthly period. The priest and anything she sits on before will be unclean on behalf of her period to be cleansed. Anyone who these are the regulations for anyone who has a defiling and bathe with water, and they cannot afford the regular offerings for their cleansing. When she is cleansed from her discharge, she must count off 7 days. And after that, to the land of ceremonial, which I am giving you as your possession, and I put a spreading mold in a house 2 young pigeons, and bring them to the priest's house. The entrance go and tell the priest, I have seen something that looks like a defiling sin in my house, and the other the priest is to order the house to be emptied before he goes. He will make atonement for her before so that nothing in the house will be pronounced of her discharge. After this, you must the priest is to the Israelites separate from things that make to examine the mold on the walls, so they will not die in their reddish depression that appear to be deeper than the surface of the wall. Among them, the priest shall these go are the regulations of the house for a man with a discharge up for anyone made unclean by the session of semen. The priest shall return to inspect the house. For a man, if the mold has spread on the discharge, he is to order a man that the contaminated sexual relation torn out with a woman who is ceremonially unclean place outside the town. He must have all the inside walls of the house scraped and the material that is scraped off dumped into an unclean place outside the town. Then they are to take other stones to replace these, and take new clay and plaster the house. If the defiling mold reappears in the house after the stones have been torn out and the house scraped and plastered, the priest is to go and examine it. And if the mold has spread in the house, it is a persistent defiling mold. The house is unclean. It must be torn down, its stones, timbers, and all the plaster, and taken out of the town to an unclean place. Anyone who goes into the house while it is closed up will be unclean till evening. Anyone who sleeps or eats in the house must wash their clothes. But if the priest comes to examine it, and the mold has not spread after the house has been plastered, he shall pronounce the house clean, because the defiling mold is gone. To purify the house, he is to take 2 birds and some cedar wood, scarlet yarn, and hyssop. He shall kill one of the birds over fresh water in a clay pot. Then he is to take the cedar wood, the hyssop, the scarlet yarn, and the live bird, dip them into the blood of the dead bird and the fresh water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. He shall purify the house with the bird's blood, the fresh water, the live bird, the cedar wood, the hyssop, and the scarlet yarn. Then he is to release the live bird in the open fields outside the town. In this way, he will make atonement for the house, and it will be clean. These are the regulations for any defiling skin disease, for a sore, for defiling molds in fabric or in a house, and for a swelling, a rash, or a shiny spot, to determine when something is clean or unclean. These are the regulations for defiling skin diseases and defiling molds.